Hello, lovely listeners.
We are your boyfriend twins.
We're the same,
but different.
Also, we're not actually boyfriends.
Yeah, and also, like, we're not really related either.
Yeah, we're just a pop duo who has yet to sing a song together, release any music, or go on tour. But, you know, the vibes are there.
The vibes are there. Kevin's, you said you're a baritone, right?
No. Oh, no.
What are you? You're a tenor?
I'm unfortunately a tenor, yeah.
Oh, I'm a baritone, which means that I'm a verse and you're a bottom. So
baritone?
Together...
I don't think so. That's the poor man's I can just do whatever you need me to in the center. A baritone,
yeah, that's not poor man's. That's a very good skill. I was in two shows at once. One of them where I was a high tenor, one of them where I was a low baritone. And I was rehearsing for both these shows at the same time. And I fucking nailed it.
Don't talk to me unless you're the lowest of low or the highest of high. And that's how I do my things.
What's the highest note you can hit with your chest voice?
Oh, bitch, I have no idea. You think I know a piano? I don't think so. Do you know the note you can hit?
No.
Yeah.
I was going to Google it. I was going to Google it and be like, I can beat you.
Oh my God. This podcast just turns into Annie, get your gun. Anything you can do, I can do better. We're just
or
higher notes than each other. That
a less dated reference is a Pitch Perfect riff off.
Oh God. Riff off? No.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. I will say, there is a special place in hell for a cappella in general. Anyone who occupies the space of singing without music, I think that deserves a spanking, not sexual, right? But
interesting. Yeah,
the Pitch
I can see that.
The Pitch Perfect franchise is so fucking, dare I say, pitch perfect. I love it so much.
It's really good. It's so funny. Good.
But you know what makes it extra special? Kay Cannon, who is a fantastic writer, wrote the movie, and she used to be a writer on 30 Rock. She wrote one of my favorite episodes.
Oh wow, that's really cool. I didn't know that. Did you know that one of the actors in Pitch Perfect, the black actor, the one black girl in the acapella group, she's actually, I don't know, but she's a famous writer as well for pop singers.
Esther. I forget her last name, but her first name's Esther. She has written every good song that you like was written by her, and in order to negotiate being on the show, I know this actually I know this because I read I'm not gonna lie, I listened to Rebel Wilson's memoir. She talks a lot about it. But yeah, in her memoir she talks about Esther Williams. Am I pulling that out of my ass?
Might be it.
Someone look that up.
You haven't pulled anything in or out of your ass in a while based on our conversation recently. Which I'm really upset about. I've really been trying to get you laid, even though I'm not doing anything. But I've been spiritually been like, God, I know you can hear me. Please let my cousin Kevin get laid. I'm really praying for him.
Google's coming in with the report. Is it Esther Williams? It's Esther Dean. I was so close. Williams and Dean are the same word. Where did I get Williams? I think I'm just thinking of Destiny's Child.
You thought she was related to Venus and Serena because you're racist.
Yes. I saw Challengers and I can't get tennis out of my head.
Oh my God.
Have you seen it?
No, and I don't really care to, although I understand why it might be good.
I think you would.
I'm sure I would. You know what I'd like even more in this moment? You'll never do this for me. I've always wanted someone to come up to me. This goes back to Pitch Perfect and just be like, bum, 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 bum. And I'm like, here's the thing. We started out friends. It was cool, but it was all pretend. Yeah. Since you've been gone. That movie launched Kelly Clarkson's career.
I hate you.
I know you like her.
I hate you. I know you like her. On this podcast specifically, we've spoken multiple times about how Kelly Clarkson is my number one, and you just did that in front of me. So fucking offensive. So offensive.
No, it didn't. Glee launched Kelly Clarkson's career. It was really good for visibility.
It really was.
Support indie artists.
Oh my God, it's so important. Glee launched 1,000 ships and all of them sank and on fire. Glee...
Okay, I will give Glee some credit as somebody who grew up with my culture and am very out of touch with North American pop culture. It caught me up to speed on a lot of your guys' classic music, Sweet 100%. Caroline, Don't Stop Believin'. All of that was from Glee. And now I go to white people weddings. They play Sweet Caroline. I know the words.
Bam, bam,
that music, that song plays, and you think all those little Christians is in a line of crack. They start dancing. They start taking off their tops.
Oh my gosh, the way Glee was theater camp speed. Like any drug, like just the euphoria, like the fake drug from 90210. That's what Glee is to theater kids. It's this ball of energy that exists inside a theater kid's heart that you never want to let out, because then you have to deal with the monster of cringe that is musicals. But then Glee just like harnessed that and gave it power and created what I think is probably one of the 7 horsemen of the apocalypse. I do not think Glee is good for this world. I do not think.
You know what?
I think we're worse off for having Ryan Murphy with so much power and money and influence.
This is correct. Ryan Murphy is an interesting specimen. However, I will give Glee credit.
Dramatic.
You know, Glee is the reason that I started musical theater when I was 15.
That's like...
Because I had watched Glee when I was 14 because this gay lady in my school, she was my age, she was 14. Why is she calling? I'm not calling you a lady. She was like, hey, you should watch this show called Glee. And I was like, okay.
That's why you're not a baritone. That's why you're not a baritone. Is that the lowest you can go?
Oh,
That's why you're not a baritone.
Shut up. I can sing low. The Beast song in Beauty and the Beast the Stage musical, right in my like nice deep notes.
Okay.
Shut up. And so that's what started musical theater for me, is because I auditioned for my school musical the next year because I was like, oh my God, it's going to be like Glee. And guess what? It ended up being much better.
Oh, okay. I just like cut to the entire school is being burned down, and I was like, well, gotta find the Glee club. That's where I was expecting that to go. But listen, we do have to keep it on the wraps. We can't have every episode be about musical theater. We talked plenty last week.
No, you're right.
You're right. Unfortunately, have to move on simply because I respect.
Yeah, I was kidding. We should break out into song.
No,
hey, Kevin.
No.
What was your week like?
No, do it over, but do it normal. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to see.
Hey,
that.
Kevin. What was your week like?
You want to try that one more time?
Hey, Kevin. What was your week like?
So we
I mean,
got
we all know you didn't
get
get laid.
In a different direction. I'm still uncomfortable, but for other reasons.
Okay, I want to hear what your week was like. One thing I want to get out of the way is we know you didn't get laid. This is every week. Let's move past that.
I don't want to
Next. Thank you, next. You not getting laid is the equivalent of me crying. Like, we know it's happening. We don't have to acknowledge it. It's just, let's keep going.
I want to push back on that, but I don't think I can. I don't think that's false in any way, shape, or form.
When I was calling you that day while playing Assassin's Creed, and you're like, oh, I almost got laid. I literally, after playing that game and after a call, ended up having sex. And literally, I was like, I'm not even kidding. After I had sex, in my head, I was like, oh, and poor Kevin can't even, like... I never told you that, but I was like, come on, it's not that hard.
Maybe you should have kept that in your brain. Maybe.
But Kevin, it's not that hard. You're hot. It's fine.
No,
you're fine.
It wasn't.
I'm just like
worse. He said it worse.
No, you're fine. I was literally thinking of you.
No. We're rewinding and going back. Let's dissect this because I have questions. So first of all, not only are you saying that, Kevin, I thought of you after having sex, not because you're hot, because simply you can't get it and I can. Like, that's wild.
Well, I'm like, what is happening? Like, Kevin, it's not for a lack of, like, anything that you need to worry about. Literally, a man messaged me on a dating app being like, you look like your friend Kevin. I was like, oh my God, cool.
We're getting into a territory that I don't know how to navigate, to be quite frank.
You don't have to know how to navigate everything. Sometimes life is about not being over prepared for everything. I'm just saying. I thought of you after I had sex, and I was like,
after having this conversation,
it is. But here's the thing, Kevin. Okay, I'm teasing you, but also sex has a different role in everyone's life, right? So you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so a sex position is basically like when people have sex, like sometimes they'll do different positions. So that's like what a sex position is. So like, tell me what your week is like as a sex position or like a chest configuration. I don't know what you people do.
A chest configuration. Yeah, a workout? No. So, I mean, I think how my week has gone and what I'm focused on at this moment is very indicative of why I haven't gotten laid recently. However, I will say...
Indicative.
Yes, indicative, and emphasis on not having a dick. Okay, so I think what my sex position would be is, this is going to be a little graphic, but you know how like you're like when you are like done, finished, and have come on your chest, right? And you're done but your partner's not. And then so you have to act like you're still into it, despite the fact that your brain has like completely checked out. You're done. You're over it. You're half soft and completely ready to put your clothes back on and wrap it up, right? So...
Oh my god, I've never had that like thing out loud. That's like a
God forbid. Oh, you'll say everything else out loud, but that's off the table.
No. I'm not saying it's vulgar. I'm saying that I'm giving you props for like bringing this thing to the light that like I feel like a lot of us like don't acknowledge.
Okay, well, as someone who is ready to wash my hands of the situation immediately after I get stimulation, I'm very prompted to be like, done. So often you have to just be like, yeah, I'm still into it. I'm not lying. I want you to keep going because you look like you're having fun. So anyway, feel like that because right now I finished my lotion. I finished my gift lotion that I got from someone. This has been the worst.
Because you were masturbating?
No, I put it on my face, you dumb bitch. I
was like,
I have been using this for the past month because I refuse to throw out products that are like perfectly fine, but this lotion is the worst. It is like thick and it's terrible and I don't like it, and I don't think it actually does anything to my skin, and it says peptide renewal cream and I don't know what those words mean. And so
stop torturing yourself, Kevin.
Well, I'm not gonna. It's more torture to throw it away. I tried to throw it away. I threw it away, looked at the trash can, picked it out of the trash can, and used some more of it.
You're disgusting and you're neurotic.
I'm sorry that I like to use products until I'm done with them. I'm not here to.
You're not happy. You're actively unhappy with your own choices.
It was a gift, and I now have to deal with those consequences of receiving a gift. It's not my fault. It's the other person for giving me a bad gift that I now have to deal with.
It must be so agonizing living in your head.
Yes, of course. What is the whole theme of my speeches all the time? I'm in pain.
This is true. I think you told me that. You've told me what I just told you. That's true. I'm
in a prison, and it's my own making.
Yeah.
But the point is, I finished it. And I put up with this bullshit for forever. And I said, you're doing great, sweetie. Keep going. Keep being put on my face. And now it's done. And I don't have to pretend like I like it anymore. I get to throw it away like a good consumer who used a full product and is done with it. And that's my sex position. I'm done putting up with someone else's nonsense because I did the work and now I get to kick them out of my house.
Nice. It's just, I have to acknowledge that the someone else in this situation is yourself.
No. It's the personification of someone giving me a gift and me believing that if they found out I threw it away, they'd feel mildly sad about it. And I have
something about sex, huh?
You know what? When you complimented my skin the other day, it was because I had not put on that lotion. I put on sunscreen instead, just regular sunscreen. That's what
really?
Yes, I was just like, wow, the one time I don't do the proper skincare, someone's like, you look really nice. That's how bullshit this lotion
your skin
is.
always looks nice.
Sure, but thank you. Regardless.
Your skin always looks nice.
Anyway, that's how my
really quick note about what you said about the sex position, about the like, this is like a related thing sex-wise. I've noticed that like when I'm really into the person, two things. One, when I'm really into them, but also when I conceptualize sex and I'm having a beautiful time with someone and I don't think of like ejaculation as like the marker of sex, I find that when the other person finishes, or like when I finish, I'm happy to let the other person finish and I don't want to leave. It's just part two of just like intimacy and beautiful connection and like, you know, continuing this roller coaster ride of like passion. Like that's hot and that's like, you know? Sorry, I know you're making that face because you don't know what ejaculation is. Basically, what happens when you rub your pee-pee a lot, when you rub your pee-pee, sometimes stuff comes out.
A flirpy derpy, lovey-dovey, passionate, touching. It's I need a poll. We need to put a poll up right now. And I need just people to be 100% honest and 100% real. I need to know how many people thought that last statement was fucking dumb. Like, I just need a sanity check because...
Sure. You're well past a sanity check, sweetheart.
Betcha. Right in this moment, you betcha. Like, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but what you just said about connection, passion, and intimacy cannot be the norm for the society we live in. There cannot be that many.
I don't think it's the norm. I think it can be.
Sometimes we bang and then we just lay there and I let him do what he wants and I feel complete euphoria and Like, there's too many women out there who have never had an orgasm because men don't know what they're doing. Like, that
course.
has to be the
Yeah.
minority. And I need a poll right now.
I
to
agree.
Confirm that my mindset is correct.
Yeah. I want to know also, when you comment either on this video or Spotify, whatever, comment specifically if you have sex with straight men or like not straight men, or like specify your demographic and then tell us if this is like a relatable thing.
I just
because I feel like it varies. I don't think, Kevin, I'm not saying it's the norm. If it was the norm, I'd be somehow even hornier than I am as a person already.
If it was a norm, we would live in a completely different world. Let me tell you that right now.
Listen, I will say,
the
like,
problems in life would be solved if people had sex like you did, I think.
I wish it was all of my sexual encounters. I will say that, like, you can be the common denominator in those experiences and like be the person that makes the other person comfortable and like really initiate and lead a lot of like the intimacy and like sensuality. But anyways, this is not like a Kama Sutra podcast.
It sounds like it.
Wow, just because I'm Indian? No, I was talking to myself. I have battles with myself. Remember that one episode when I was like yelling at nobody?
Every
like
episode?
I made up a scenario and I was fighting him.
Yeah, everyone.
Okay, I'm excited to tell you about my week as a sex position.
Yeah, tell me about
Pretty
your week.
brief. Highlight of my week, I had a really gorgeous picnic in the sun with my friends and I baked cookies. They made raspberry pistachio scones and hummus. I told you about this picnic on FaceTime and you're like, ugh, because I told you I was in the sun for 7 hours.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Oh, I love a
Grinch over
picnic,
here.
but I also love a shade.
No, I loved being in the sun. It was so beautiful and it made me remember how much I love
the thing is,
people and
white
my
people
friends and,
food
like, how much we connect.
does not do good in the sun. White people food and white people picnics.
No,
they start
white
melting.
people do food. No,
Our
we had cookies and scones.
Sandwiches. Baby, white people are bringing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You can't have that in the sun for 7 hours. It will turn
you can. It's fine.
to mush.
No, it's fine. Everything turns to mush in the sun. And there were one or two white people
That
at the
explains your
picnic.
skin.
Huh?
Never mind. Okay.
Oh, because it turned to mush?
Yes. I'm calling you ugly. Be offended, please.
I take back my compliment about your skin. You look older on FaceTime.
Anyway, continue about your picnic and your lovely, lovely week.
It was really fun. We threw around a frisbee for like a little bit briefly. I blew bubbles. So my orgy, my sex position would be a big orgy. It would be a big orgy and all of us love each other and our friends. And we kiss on the lips.
I really do.
Right.
I need to not be in this podcast for a week so I can listen and then read the comments and be like, I just need to gauge the interest. I need to gauge how insane or not you are. I don't know how to judge you in this moment because I feel like
the comments never say I'm insane. They never say I'm insane.
Oh,
they always say, "Oh my god, you guys have such an interesting dynamic." They find polite ways to say that we're both on opposite ends of the spectrum, like of deeply unwell. One person who's had too much therapy needs to break down and analyze everything. One person who like is newer to the therapy journey and is confronting their avoidant tendencies. And I don't think either of us are well, Kevin. I don't think this podcast would have anybody listening if we were just like, "Hey, buddy, how'd your week go?
Why you turn into Yogi Bear? Who is that?
I don't know. I do sound like Yogi Bear. What does he say? Yo ho ho. No.
Yes.
Wait, what is
and a bottle of rum. That's what Yogi Bear says.
Stop.
You nailed it.
What does Yogi Bear say? What does Yogi Bear say? I feel like he'd be bad in bed. What does Yogi Bear say?
What'd you do this week? You're so close. There's one
orgy.
specific activity that Yogi Bear prepares for.
I know he goes on picnics.
And how he
what
says
does he
it?
say?
You're so close.
I'm going on a picnic.
Not quite. I think we're just gonna leave. I don't want to tell you because it's so funny. I'm sorry.
Please, Kevin. Please tell me.
Say it again. Do it again.
I'm going on a picnic.
We're moving on. We have to move on. Guys, before we get into it, more than we already have, like, comment, and subscribe. We are doing quite well as a podcast. We keep growing pretty well, but you can help even more by reviewing with 5 stars or commenting on the YouTube, subscribing, following, telling your friends, sharing any of the videos. Yada, yada, yada. We appreciate it so much. They can see you making fun of me while I do this. They can see you making fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you. I'm accompanying you. I was not making fun of you.
I don't think so.
I swear to God.
Bitch.
I swear to God.
When you do dumb stuff, I patiently wait for you to finish so I can interject and call it out as dumb stuff. Meanwhile, when I do dumb stuff, you have to make it an event.
I was literally trying to accompany you. We're a team. What is on my hand?
We're a team. Oh God, that word bums me out. Speaking of team,
Wow,
yeah,
bitch.
Oh, before we get into it, we're talking about love languages, but there's apparently a PR stunt of someone getting fired from Netflix because they had an OnlyFans, and I thought it was real.
Okay.
But what's your take on that?
Like, okay, first of all, okay, so it's not real, but what is my take on it in general, like as a concept?
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, okay, look, this is tricky. See, I want to like talk about sending like naked pics and stuff, but that's not the same as like, I guess, having a public OnlyFans.
It's
But like,
tangential. You can go for
I don't
it.
know, like tangential, I guess. Yeah, like I think ever since I have had an online platform, I have not sent a single person any nudity whatsoever at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because the internet is so like everything will find itself, I just like to be safe. And I even like found a thread of people on a website being like, oh my God, like where that has nudes. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is why I don't do
People
it.
are real
That's why I
weird.
don't do
Well,
it.
that's what I remember when we were
Yeah.
talking earlier in our relationship. You were like, "Oh, you're not
Yes.
lying. I just looked, and there aren't any of you out there because you're a pervert and you looked."
Of you. Oh no, I'm not a pervert. I don't remember the context of that.
We were in a conversation. I was like, "Yeah, I
I
just
don't-
okay." So, well, let me back up. I, for the same reason, don't take nudes and show them online. I feel
Wait, but do you send them?
occasionally, but I'm incredibly selective.
Okay, so then see, you're less careful than I am. But I'm not saying you're doing a bad thing, and it's
know.
good that you're selective. But I'm just saying that's something we differ in.
Like,
Because I'm like, I don't care who it is. It could be the fucking Queen of England.
yeah.
Oh, she died. Yeah.
Really not beating the terrorist allegations, are you? Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing with nudes. The internet is forever, and I think that once one thing is out there, it will never go away. And people do not respect others in a way that, like,
Mhm.
if they can find a way to leverage you as a person that is lesser than them, they will. And I think often nudes are something that's used for that. I mean, it's not just revenge porn. If you see everything of a person, like if you see their full up and down, everything they have to offer physically, people will then give themselves the permission to judge all of you and deem you worthy or not. I feel like that's not okay. And as a protection, you kind of have to not give them that power. Granted, some people don't care.
Wait, but I'm confused though. I'm confused because I'm saying that I don't do it for like privacy, stigma, nudity, blah 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 reasons. You're saying that you don't like that people make judgments based on your body, but I mean that's just dating apps, isn't it?
No, I'm talking about like using your nudes as something against you. Like,
Oh, okay.
once you give everything to someone who doesn't respect you, they can do anything with that information, right? I see nudes as like the physical embodiment of giving someone everything. Granted, some people
Gotcha.
don't value just their physical form as something that has like as something that is that important, and nerds to them, like that's great. I think
Yeah,
it
I
would
love
be
that.
a better society if we all shared that mentality, because then collectively we would be able to say like, it's just my body, it does not matter, I am not determined by what just my body looks like. However, we don't live in that society, and so I don't trust 90% of the internet with what I give them if I'm being generous, which is why I am more inclined to always hold back rather than just let something out there, you know?
Yeah, no, and I think that's the best way to go about it. Like, people also don't treat you like a human being.
Exactly.
Right? There's a level of parasocialness there. There's also a level of like, you know, I am entitled to make all of these public comments about this person's body and and like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, that's a good way of, it's a really, really good way of putting it. And I'm like, damn.
I will say,
However,
the contrast to that, I was talking to Fina Barbital, who's a lovely friend. They're an incredible drag queen performer. They're lovely. What? And they just went through this like massive weight loss journey. They look great. They're so much happier. They are like just in love with themselves a lot more. And we were talking about this, and they did a nude photo shoot and they loved it because they got so much more power from it. Seeing themselves carrying
Wow.
themselves in a proud, beautiful way. It's an interesting perspective because are you more inclined to look at how people treat your body, or are you more inclined to look at how you see yourself? And those are two very different perspectives. And I think that's where the disconnect of like,
Whoa.
should I be naked in front of these people or not? Kind of like
How
forks
much
in
of
the
it is
road.
about me versus them?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. Wow.
So that's kind of what I see as someone who's like constantly got their toe in the pool of adult content. I think that it's an interesting perspective, and it's an interesting kind of way to look at how you view the body that you carry. It's interesting.
It is. And it makes you think about like how back then, like back in the day, people just didn't wear clothes. Also, really quick.
How far back are
Did
we
you
going? Back in the
I know,
day?
like 3 years ago, you know. I mean, speaking of your content, did you like my comment on your video where you're shaking your pecs and I say, "Oh my god, I thought we weren't going public about the fact that we do FaceTime POV breastfeeding sessions together."
Explain that joke to me. Explain it. Why is that funny?
The joke was that Kevin's boobs are bouncing up and down, and so I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Should I call you mommy or something?" And then, he said something else, and I was like, "Oh my god, haha!" We go on FaceTime and do POV breastfeeding sessions because your pecs are so big. And then I was trying to like have this running inside joke where I referred to him as mommy, and we were on a call just hanging out. And then I was like, Kevin, I actually can't commit to this joke. It's making me really uncomfortable. And he's like, "You need to learn how to commit to jokes."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I can't do this one. It's weird. It's kind of I was hoping that you'd be like, "Ew, stop," but you were like, "Okay, keep going."
Yeah. Yeah. Match my freak, bitch. You gotta compete.
No,
If you wanna do a weird thing and I say, okay, let's go, you don't get to back out now. If you wanna call
A
me
plus
mommy,
Tinashe reference, by the way.
yeah.
I love that she's getting her flowers.
I love
Our
her so much.
I'm gonna give a shout out to our producer Timo, who introduced me to one of her albums that I really, really loved. Bless you, Timo. Timo's the only reason people think I have really nice taste in North American music. I literally messaged our producer being like, "Hey, send me some albums." I got really into them. I shared a couple on my stories, and people were like, "Oh my god, like such good taste." In my head, I'm like, "Thanks, it's not me."
That's just how the music industry works. Like, I feel like that's how clout is built with pop culture. You're just looking for
I guess
cool
so.
shit to share, and so other people can think you're into cool shit.
Do you like? Would you say sharing things with people is one of your love languages?
I think so. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I just
I think so too.
I feel like, I mean, this isn't exactly on topic, but I feel like the gay queer lifestyle is like collecting all these little trinkets and gay shit that you can then show your friends and look cool for collecting all these trinkets and gay shit. Like putting
That's deeply unrelatable.
I think you're alone in that. I'm just gonna pan this to a corner. Like, I've got all my gay shit. Look at all my gay shit. Look at that. Look at my little Wally.
Yeah, but I'm saying
little-
that's.
my
I
Yeet
believe that that's
embroidery.
you.
I think this
love
is
your
a queer thing. I
embroidery.
think this is a gay thing. I think
Yeah?
this is a cool gay thing. I think this is more like,
Okay.
what straight man has this shit in their room? No. They've got fucking lotion and a dirty sock on their mantle, and they've got nothing else as they didn't make their bed this morning.
That's also fair. I'm looking up and I don't have gay shit. I just have like all of the cards and drawings my friends
Boo.
ever made for me. Which
Boo.
kind of gay. Kind of gay.
No, kind of gay doesn't count. I do really love I love giving gifts. I think I'm a very good gift giver.
Yeah.
I love the intimacy of being able to know someone so well that you can get them something they don't think they need but can still enjoy. I take gifts very seriously. I don't necessarily love receiving them, but I love giving them. And then acts of service as well. Quality time and acts of service are very kind of very similar to me, and I like those things. What about you? I know you are a words of affirmation girly.
I know we briefly touched on this before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a physical touch and words of affirmation for romantic partners. Physical touch and words of affirmation.
Could not be me.
For friends, I know. Well, that's why we're so different. That's why we're the same but different. But for friends, physical touch doesn't need to be there as much, but like words of affirmation are huge for me. For friends especially, like words of affirmation and like quality time, I think are really nice. Yeah, I'm just, especially in relationships, like I love touch. Like it's such a like connecting thing for me. And like even in general, like honestly, like I'm thinking about it, I'm like, no, like even with my platonic relationships and stuff, like I like hugs. I like, it's different obviously, but like touch is a very connecting thing for me. Yeah, I think love language is such a like cool thing because I think you can do so much when it comes to like adjusting and accommodating to what your partner wants. Like I remember my last boyfriend. This is the nice ex. We like this ex. He's a good guy. No, because there's one evil one and one nice one.
Yeah,
So
you're very Scott Pilgrim.
keep up with the lore.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep up with. I'm very Scott Pilgrim. And I remember one of his natural love languages to give wasn't necessarily touch, but I told him I like touch. So like we would just be hanging out and he'd just like put his hand on my shoulder, on my leg, and he'd be like, I remember you like touch. And I'd like feel so good. And I'm like, this just makes me feel really like connected to you. But it's really interesting too, because like, yeah, we had this conversation a while ago earlier in our friendship. And I feel like I've become so much more attuned to your like love languages, like friendship wise. And I'm like, it's so funny because like at the beginning, I'd be like, oh, like, does Kevin hate me? Da, da, da. And now I'm just like, I'm so attuned to it. I know exactly what it is. If Kevin sends me a meme, I'm like, Kevin didn't just send me a meme the way I just like send my friends meme. Kevin said, this reminds me of this person, and I'm going to show them that like I thought of them, so I'm going to send them this. And then in our call, he will reference this thing. And it's like how it's like I said, very similar to Evil X. And so because of my relationship with Evil X, I'm not saying that makes you evil,
give them
Kevin,
so much
because
power.
you guys had similar.
You give them so much
Kevin,
power by
I give
labeling them as
so much
the
power.
evil X. You are.
I need to
'cause this
actually
isn't-
jokes
this
aside,
isn't-
stop doing that.
like you are. You reference them
When
a
I
lot,
tell
and I
you-
get it's because it's like
Kevin, I
things that I do
know.
reference what you're thinking,
No.
but you give them so
I
much
know.
power by saying
And
they're the evil
you know
one.
what sucks, Kevin? It sucks because I know this person. I don't even cross their mind. They fucking destroyed me and literally traumatized the fucking shit out of me. Oh, and I need to. You're right, and I really need to stop. So I'm gonna stop referencing
I don't think you
them.
do. I think it's funny,
Done.
but it's fine.
No, I need to stop though. I don't even cross this person's mind. They just really fucked me
Your
up.
unhealthy
but-
tendencies are great for bits on this podcast. So, baby, the less you do in therapy, honestly, the more I've got to work with, and vice versa. The less I have sex, the more
Good,
we've
as long
got
as
to
it-
talk about.
As long as you acknowledge that.
Exactly.
As long as you acknowledge that.
Yeah, perfect.
Good. So yeah, it's interesting seeing how like your love languages manifest and like the way that you show care. So yeah, it's nice.
You know what?
But,
Something
yeah.
that's always
I mean-
like I feel you. I'm curious what you think about this because I think words are meaningless until an action is put behind them.
Yep.
I'm not saying when someone says I love you, they don't mean it, but I'm saying if someone just says I love you, then
Yeah.
what does that mean and why are you saying it? So,
Yeah.
that's where I've always had this disconnect with the words of affirmation crowd. And I've talked to my ex about this
Yeah.
often because he's very similar to you. He's very words of affirmation and very physical touch. He just wants to be held. He wants to be told that he's appreciated. And I was
We're so
bad
easy
at
to
it.
manipulate. We are. This
Your
is why I
words.
get manipulated and you
Your
don't.
your words.
You're like, where are the actions? And I'm like,
Truly.
what actions? He said he likes
That's
me.
the thing, but that's I'm like, what do you do when someone doesn't follow up on what they say? Because I understand that words are nice, but if they don't come with some kind of act of service, what power do those words have? It's like when a homophobe calls you a it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, of course you're going to call me that. This has no meaning because you don't respect me. I guess that's where
That was a loose metaphor, but
I think it wasn't.
Yeah.
I think it was a very tight and hard metaphor. You're right. I'm just giving an example of someone saying words
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
don't respect because of their actions. That's just always been like, I just don't functionally understand where people are like, words, thank you, that's the priority. Where I'm like, why don't you
literally
want...
just a dopamine hit though, Kevin. It's
That's
like the way
crazy to
you
me.
probably get your dopamine hit from like somebody showing you they care.
Yeah.
Psychos like me get their dopamine hits from people telling us something. But luckily, the more you grow up and get hardened in this world,
Hard.
you will learn to navigate that.
Hardened.
And and so like, okay, now it's funny though, like I was talking about this with a really good friend of mine.
Me?
And I've become I've become so much better at this too, but like we were talking about how he was like fully in like basically a relationship with someone he didn't really care about, not someone he wasn't even that attracted to or find like or consider a great person. He's like, we just cuddled a lot and it was the oxytocin. I'm like, yeah. And once you realize how your body like tricks you into liking someone that isn't nice, even though it's your love language, you learn ways to like counteract that. So like if I have like, if a man's ever distant or something, like I'm like, I don't care how much I want to be connected to you right now. I know objectively, even though my hormones are telling me that I want to fight for you, I'm like, you're not showing me that you care. Bye. And it worked. And I'm really, really happy and single.
Good for you.
Um,
Happy and single.
I told you I'm deeply avoiding a relationship. A lot of the, not to toot my own horn,
Oh,
but a lot of men that I've like that with in the past little while have been like, I just don't understand how you don't have a boyfriend, blah blah blah. And I was like, I'm not looking for
I
one.
do
I
hate that when
specifically
people
am
say
avoiding
that.
one at all costs. I know, because they make it seem like the default should be, oh, everyone automatically needs / wants a boyfriend.
Yeah.
So if you don't have one, that's so weird. It's like, actually, some of us don't want one. Why are you so fixated on getting a relationship? Some of us are like not looking to like potentially have a man leech and like suck out all the energy from our
Yeah,
lives.
can't take my money.
Yeah, why can't I want to be single? Like, why are you framing it as if like it's a punishment?
Truly. And there's also this possessive vibe behind it where it's like, man, I can't believe you're not taken. It's like, why is that the goal? Also, what about a relationship or like knowing there's someone on top of me? What about that adds value to me? It's like it's just an interesting way to phrase things, and I'm like,
Well, here's the thing. It opens your mind to the toxic way they view dating, because they're telling on themselves unintentionally and showing that they view how much someone is valued as a person based on whether or not they're quote unquote taken. So they view single people as less than.
yeah, well, for sure.
Right? Which I'm like, oh, if that's how you think that works, then like that's kind of sad.
Yeah, or if you're not
Because
single,
you are going to force yourself in a relationship. Like, are you ignoring all the people that force themselves into relationships they're not happy in? Like,
Mhm.
that's fucked up.
yeah,
Like, what? Like, I'm not going to force myself into relationships just so other people can be like, he's valuable. I also I'd never publicly share that I'm in a relationship. Like, my last long-term relationship, I cosplayed as single very effectively. And I don't need my followers or anyone online being in my business. I'm like, I don't want to showcase it like that.
I did that
regularly,
too.
you
That
know?
was an interesting dynamic
Yeah.
with my last relationship, where most people found out I was in a relationship when this podcast aired, and I said I was no longer in a relationship.
Yeah.
So I did, like, that's the thing. It's like, I don't want the judgment of other people or the expectation or the like, oh, how are you? Good. Tell me about it. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you about it, because everyone who I think is
No.
worthy of hearing about it already has. And also, it's
Exactly.
like, I just wanted to establish the boundary early so I can decide whether or not it was a boundary I wanted to keep with my audience. That being
Yeah.
said, it was often an interesting dynamic, because my ex I can see that they would sometimes feel like I didn't want to share our relationship, and that's something they wanted to do. They're very public, they're very
Oh.
vocal, they're very like out and proud of other things they do. So there's always this like, we never really got into it, because they would not push me to do anything I was uncomfortable with, but like, I never really got into truly dissecting if it was a thing I was doing out of like health and safety, or if it was like a defense mechanism built into like, if this doesn't work, less people will know it than it work. That kind of thing, you know?
Maybe it's both. For me, it was both too. I was like, I don't want people to know if like a relationship fails. That's definitely a piece of it. But then also, there's also the other piece, right? I don't know if it's relatable, but it's like people have opinions on everything. A lot of stupid people have opinions that they feel they need to share. And I'm like, and they're so parasocial, and like they think they know your relationships and stuff. I'm like, I don't want these random ass people commenting on like my love life. Like, so yeah, I get it. Like for me, in my case with my ex, he wasn't like that. Both of us were like, ew, no, nobody needs to know that we're like together. Like that's like, ew, go away. But like we'll be in public holding hands, going on dates. It's fine. And people like, oh my god, like I didn't know you were dating someone. I'm like, yeah, good.
Yeah.
You don't know me.
Someone's gonna find out. Yeah, for
I
sure.
didn't know you were dating someone. See how that works. Yeah. But it's very interesting. Now I want to pivot back to love languages, because I'm curious. Do you find that your love languages change between like platonic versus romantic relationships?
No, actually. And something I am trying to dissect now is like, what's the difference between a very good friendship and a boyfriend? Like, what's the difference
We
between
talked about
someone,
this, yes.
yeah, like what's the difference between someone you are intimate with and someone who you are intimate with? Eyebrow wiggle. Like, I don't think I really have a big distinction between relationships if I really care.
See, you've mentioned this And the more I think about it, I'm like, fine. I think that relationship structures are so different in everyone's life. I'm not saying you didn't think it was fine, obviously, but I think it's unrelatable for me. But the more you say it, I'm like, I can totally see how that would be the case. And I'm like, I bet there's so many people who view relationship structures like that as well. And then I'm like, oh, that's so interesting that like we all see this stuff differently based on like everything internally growing up
Mhm.
versus also like whatever media we were consuming growing up, whatever mix of everything it is. Yeah, it's wild.
Well, what do you think? Dive into that even more,
Yeah.
because you are someone
Well,
who separates friendship and relationship, but you seem to be conflicted on
I
that now. What are you thinking?
like not conflicted. It is still separate for me. Look, I told you this before. I grew up with like deeply romantic Bollywood movies. I am an extremely romantic person. Like when I'm dating someone, like it is me and them till the end of the world. Like love forever, holding hands, whatever, drawing things for them, writing things. Like I don't give a fuck. Like that is for me. Like romance is and like
You're
I don't know. Like
describing me talking about breadsticks. You're like, that's how I would describe an Olive Garden breadstick.
You're weird. You're so
Uh-uh. Uh-uh. No. How dare you? You just said romance is, what? No.
Oh, holy fuck, you're weird. Holy shit, I almost called you bro.
I I don't know what to
Oh,
do.
fuck.
I don't know what to do with you. This is really, I mean, we could not be more separate in this moment. I don't know what to do with a groaning platitude of like a groaning vibe of positivity. Like yeah, I
I know.
think the way
I
you
know. I know.
treat romance apparently is the way I treat a really great meal from the Olive Garden.
It might be.
Where
It might
that's
be.
where I'm
I
family.
think if I had to, okay, if I you shut up, shut up.
That-
If I had to verbalize it, I love it.
Some of us queer people get to choose our family. It's me walking into an Olive Garden.
Olive Garden. And as a Canadian, I've never been to an Olive Garden, but one of my goals is to go to one.
It's great.
Someday.
They're so good. It's
Is there one in
amazing.
LA near you, Kevin?
Are you kidding? They exist everywhere. There was a time where there was
Okay.
a Olive Garden, like there was like as many Olive Garden as Starbucks.
Okay. What? I'm not even kidding. I can save my Olive Garden virginity for whenever we eventually meet and we can go to
Well, you're
Olive
gonna
Garden
have
together.
to. There's none in Canada.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I also have other friends in the States, Kevin.
I don't-
You're not like my
I
one
don't
and
think.
only
I
friend.
don't think so. Not with
Oh,
the evidence
shut
I've seen.
up.
Not from what I've heard. I don't think
Are
that's
you
right.
shut the hell up? Shut up, fool. Okay, what I was trying to verbalize was that like there's some sort of distinction between romantic and platonic friend relationships for me that manifests itself in different expectations and love languages. But it sounds like for you that isn't necessarily the case. So I can understand why you're like, well, like why does it have to be different? Like why can't I do this sort of lovely stuff for my friends? And because also like sex and intimacy are huge for me and so romantic to me and I like need a lot of it, I'm like, okay, that's something I get from just my romantic partner. I'm a very like monogamous person. Even when I'm single, I don't like mixing friends with sex, so that's another reason there's a distinction for me. And that's not the same for everyone. There's no right or wrong way of doing it, but I imagine that if that's not the case for you, which I'm not saying it is, but if it's not the case for somebody, I can see, okay, there's less of a distinction between platonic and romantic just based on like what I expect and like receive and give. I can see why it might not be as important to even have a distinction.
What I'm visualizing between us right now is like, so like if there's a gradient, right? And there's white on this side and black on the other, and yours feels like the color changes in blocks. Like slowly the white becomes light gray, gray, dark gray, black. And so in each color distinction or shade, there is a level of intimacy
New
that you
categories.
give to friends, to partners, right? However, I
Yeah,
see it as
yeah.
like a faded gradient. So the white just slowly shifts all the way into black. And so there is no distinction. There's no line in the sand of like where I stop friendship and start relationship. It all kind of like blends together. And so
your gradient also sounds like it has less colors than my blocks. You know what I mean?
Sure. And so when I hear like friendship, I don't necessarily put that in a tier that implies one specific thing, or there's no like limit to intimacy that I'll give someone. If they are a friend who I also enjoy banging, we will. And when I was in my relationship, there was that like boundary, but as a single person,
you were monogamous, right?
As a single person, there is no real limits that I give people. I mean, if I want to. If I can have sex, I will. Not right now, apparently, because the universe hates me. But does that make sense?
To be hornier.
Where it's like there's no
it does
real
make sense. It does make sense.
There's no real line. And
there doesn't need to be, and you know that if you're in a relationship, you'll be able to sort out those lines.
Yeah, of course. How
you keep going.
No, you're right. How intimate I want to be with someone is determined by how I feel about that person, not based on the label that they have.
What I'm really, really curious about is we have gone on and on about our love languages. Genuinely, I would love to like hear in the comments, like what is your love language? What is your take on all of this? Do you believe in love languages? We even had a comment on one of our original love language videos being like, oh, this isn't real. This is just something your generation does. Like, what is your take on it? Because
communicate.
Like, obviously we're just two people.
Share things.
Thank you. I don't respond. I'm just like, yeah, you're right. Bring back racism. Don't bring back racism. That's not what they were implying.
Up for such failure all the time.
Comment your love language.
Yeah, truly. I'm what I love most about this is the sanity check in the comment section, because I do love going in through the comments every once in a while and just like seeing who thinks I'm fucking insane. And of course, plenty of people are there and I deserve it, but I do really like and the likewise. Like, oh, Kevin sounds like a crazy person, just because it's like I don't believe I'm crazy, but if I see enough comments that say I'm crazy, then I can take that with a grain of salt. But I do love
usually they're just calling us both insane. Usually they're just like, oh my god, they're both so
yeah, people are like, why are both of them the dumbest person I've ever heard? Why have we locked them in a room together? This is not allowed.
They do like that we're able to resolve conflict, which I think is nice too.
Well, I hope so. Welcome back to episode 12. We still hate each other.
No, but like the ability to be frank and honest with each other, which I think is nice. Totally. Because I mean, I think it's why I'm glad the podcast isn't just hinging on us both having mustaches and somewhat similar features. And like we actually like have an ability to talk
100%.
And virtually breastfeed.
Well, speaking of whatever the fuck that was, red flags and green flags. All right, let's get into it. What's your green flag of the episode? All right,
I'm gonna start with my red flag. I don't like being told what to do. My red flag for this episode is me giving my ex so much power when, despite the fact that this man has left kind of like what feels like a permanent scar in my heart, even though we've been broken up almost 3 years, and this guy doesn't think about me like he does. He isn't even like probably doesn't remember my name. Probably. My red flag is giving him so much power, and I want to reflect on that and like be able to find closure somehow. What's your red flag?
I'm going to start with green flags because I like to follow the rules. My green flag is that I got to think about Olive Garden in this conversation. And that was really nice because I do like their unlimited breadsticks. And although I don't think their pasta is worth the price, it is nice to sit down at a restaurant where you can just have things brought to you and know that the chef that microwaved your meal was probably doing it with a lot of care and passion.
What should I get when we go to Olive Garden, by the way? Like, should they get their pasta? Pasta?
Yes, you should get their pasta.
He says like this, my green flag is... Oh, my green flag is making fun of you for not having sex.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And yes, there's a whole caveat about sex is different for everybody and it's not really appropriate to shame someone. I agree. And that's why I'm doing it to Kevin. I know it's inappropriate. I know it's hypocritical with the values that I present 100%. Myself as having. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to make fun of 100%. Kevin. I'm not making fun of you. Stop projecting. I'm making fun of Kevin. I won't make fun of you for it, but I will make fun of this.
It is not okay to make someone feel bad about their sexual choices. That is not okay. However, I am someone who makes the wrong sexual choices, and you have 100% permission to make fun of me for it. So you can't do that to strangers. You can't. That's illegal. I will punch you in the
and
face.
I won't want to.
But you can do it to me because I deserve it.
I'm
Let's
really
be
into
real.
that.
You gotta stop. You gotta stop with
You're
this.
gonna punch me in the face.
You
Kevin.
want it? You want?
I'm committing to the bit.
Are you? Because I don't know. You commit. You
Yeah.
say you're gonna commit, and then you pull back, and then you pull back.
I've changed my mind. I'm not gonna commit because you're gonna keep it going, and
Jesus
then the
Christ.
comments will get horny and inappropriate.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, my red flag is not that conversation, despite it should be. My red flag is this fucking lotion. I didn't get to rant about gifts. I'm gonna rant about gifts. Hold on.
This man is severely unwell. If you see him walking the streets of Los
What are you
Angeles,
saying? What are you
please
saying? I don't
call
have my headphones in. What are you telling them?
911. Nothing.
What'd you say to them?
I was just saying. I was talking to my mom on the phone.
You fucking liar. I hate you
Hello?
so much. Okay.
Yeah,
Here's the
yeah.
thing.
I'm in a podcast.
Hi, I'm your friend Kevin. I'm going to do this as an infomercial because it's important to me. I got this lotion as a gift from my sister who voted for Jill Stein. I don't respect her that much. And if you're going to get someone a gift, you better hope that they're actually going to enjoy it. Do not buy them something that you just need to throw away sometime. I got this for my birthday. This was not a fun gift.
No.
Okay? When you
It
buy
was
someone...
open?
I'm talking. This is my infomercial. When you buy someone a gift that they don't want, they then feel like they are obligated to use it and they have to feel bad about that. When you give someone trash as a gift, something that you are trying to get rid of, you are now putting the burden of that trash on that other person, and it's not fair because some people are very anxious about the things they use and the things they throw away when they are not finished. So if you are going to get someone a gift, make sure it is something you actually think they're going to like, or if you don't want something, just give it to like a donation or something. I'm getting very emotional. I did not enjoy using this lotion. It is all gone and I'm finally free. I don't like my sister that much. I'm still not over the fact that she voted for Jill Stein. I cannot believe anyone could do that.
Didn't
with a
Jill
straight
Stein
face.
discover E equals MC squared?
Yes. Famous scientist and discoverer of gravity, Jill Stein.
Albert Jill Stein. Okay, now as your infomercial, tell the viewers what number to call while I do like the sad music they play for like the dog orphanage infomercials.
For $0 a day and for very minimal effort, you cannot give someone trash when it's their birthday. You can just not give a gift, just send a text and say, hey, don't buy something for someone that you don't think they're going to enjoy. It's not a grab bag situation. I don't like collecting things I don't want.
Okay, I'm ready. That was really good. I think that we make a great team.
Thank you.
I'm ready for Tango's comment. Call Tango. I know exactly what it's a DM. Pissed me off.
Tango reads all of our comments, so all the negative ones, he has to look at me with a very sad face and point it out and look at this face. Do you want this face reading a negative comment? Look at this face. I'm sorry.
Oh, hi, Tango.
He had to sift through so much negativity.
I want Tango to think that I'm you. He's so cute. Look at him. He's like, woo.
Yeah, what did Tango find?
Okay, let me just send it. One sec. It is a DM from someone. The self-importance killed me. I told you this DM. They send us, I think most of your posts are hilarious, but if you continue to post political commentary, you will lose me as a follower. Oh no!
Oh no.
Who are you?
It's so embarrassing. Like, okay, the idea, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say that we don't need our fans, but we aren't like,
No.
we aren't nobodies, and we have more than a person listening. So when someone comes in and they're like, you're gonna lose me as an individual, it's like, okay, Diva, if you're going to hold us hostage like this, I don't want you around. I don't think you're that great to begin with. So why do I want you in my circle? Like, do I look like I'm fucking desperate? Yes, I do, because I take my shirt off all the time. But that's a different subject, and we're not talking about that right now.
I'm like, is it because we talk about how Palestine shouldn't be carpet bombed? Because like we've already lost a bunch of Zionists. Like, one person who wants us to like
lost it.
Talk about. Damn it.
You mean to say we don't have the audience that doesn't respect people? No! What are we gonna do?
Damn it!
What are we gonna do? Gosh.
The fact that it wasn't even him being like, oh, I don't like your Palestinian stuff. He might not be a Zionist. It just sounds like he's bored and he's like, I don't like it. And I'm like, that's like,
yeah.
It's not even value related.
Really,
you're just bored.
Yeah. I mean, at this day and age, I'm like, define what isn't political. Because even the pop culture nonsense, like I could look at a Marvel movie and be like, wow, this is really pro-military. So it's like, what do you, what isn't political? Define
I know.
political.
Ugh.
What a waste of time.
There's a whole other conversation we'll get into about like queer revolutionary icons who like can't even talk about a genocide and like to like co-opt the language surrounding being revolution. That's a whole other. We'll talk about this one day. Anyways, so to that person, whatever major loser. Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Comment, like, subscribe, rate, flick, finger, push, cry, penetrate, and moisturize
with consent. I just
and not with moisturizer that your sister.
I just want to say with consent.
Yes, with consent. With consent. Thank
Moisturize
you.
with consent.
Thank you.
That's important.
And do not use moisturizer that your Jill Stein voting sister gives you.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
We love you parasocially, and have a beautiful day.
Thanks, guys.
Eh?
See you later.
Bye.